Unless you've been living under a complete rock, you might have noticed that many of the Total War community have been a little upset. What in the world is going on? And does it affect you? Who is behind it all? And why is it happening? We're going to get to the bottom of it. Just doing a search on YouTube for CA and Total War will yield a plethora of results that seem off topic from the usual Total War battle replays and campaign videos, or even the dreaded speculative videos of upcoming Total War games. Heading over to the forums, you will also see banned users, locked threads, and even apology posts from CA. In this video, I'll be putting footnotes at the bottom of the screen that will be numbered so you can find the link to the source in the comments below so you can keep track of references and sources used herein. All the way back in May, we saw a statement released by CA that an update was made to Empire Total War. What a shocking event! After all these years of Empire Total War having been released and left without updating for so long, finally an update. So, we come to the update of Empire Total War. So this was done back in May. Let's go ahead and let's just refresh our memories for those of you that might not have known. Greetings, Commanders. We've pushed out a small update to Total War Empire, which addresses crashes with 12th gen Intel CPUs while also removing integrated chat from the game. Read on for full details. Due to the difficulties supporting and moderating dated chat systems in the current online environment, we've taken steps to remove the integrated chat from Total War Empire and other legacy titles in our catalog. We are, however, continuing to investigate ways to properly implement and support chat in our future projects, not old ones or legacy ones, future projects, and we'll keep you updated on any changes or developments we make. In the meantime, we encourage you to make use of our official Total War Discord server as a free chat and voice option, or to use one of the many third-party programs available to communicate with your teammates. In addition to this change, we've updated the game to better use modern architecture, which should result in notable performance improvements in Total War Empire. We've also added support and fixed a crash seen with 12th gen CPUs. Now, I just want to take a moment to talk about this because this update came out of nowhere, and it has made a significant impact on the Empire Total War community. And I mean, it was done to, I believe, all the old games, and it has hurt the multiplayer community. Now, you can join a Total War Discord server, but the problem is with them removing the chat from the in-battle game, you can no longer communicate with players. So if you don't already know that player, you can't communicate with them and give them helpful advice or hints, or if they have questions about the rules of the matches that we play. You can't answer their questions. You can't give them feedback. You can't establish relationships with new players coming into the community to further the community to continue playing on. Because as we know, in life, you might have an established community, but people grow and change and they move on. So your player base is going to continually shrink because someone gets married and their life changes and they're not going to be able to play games. They get a job where they're not going to be able to spend the time working. They lose interest in the game, move on to a new one. There's so many reasons why people move on from a game, but the fact remains that there is some that do stay on playing, and then new people come into the community from purchasing the game, and they are not able to communicate with the older players. unless you go to Discord or if you're in a group chat on Steam or some other way. I don't know. I mean, we do in my community. I have a couple of forum or groups that we use to communicate with other people in our community. But the problem is, how do we add new players when we can't communicate with any new players to be able to add them into our community? So that means it's going to be a slow death to the Empire Total War multiplayer community as our players move on and go to other things. It's going to continually shrink and shrink until it's completely gone. So that had a lot of backlash, and also the update did a lot of problems for the modding community. Now, I don't know if all those are resolved, but I can tell you that some of the mods I used to use are not working. I did see that for me personally, Dark Mod was working with the updates, and a few others were working with the updates. But some of the other mods, like Imperial Destroyer and some of the other ones, did not work for me personally. For you, I don't know. But it has had an effect on us as a community that did not go over positively for the Creative Assembly and their community. Further, I would like to say we don't have any details on what exactly did they change, what exactly did they update, because I don't know. I will tell you that I have noticed far fewer crashes in the game since this update. So that is absolutely positive. But why couldn't this have been done earlier, prior to removing the chat? If you know, that's the questions that a lot of us had when this happened. Why remove the chat? Why? And that's a question we can only speculate on because we're not getting the communication. This reminds me that Valoon had made a video 2 years ago about multiplayer and the gutting of the chat from multiplayer in Shogun 2. And it's curious to see how this video from 2 years ago is relevant today. So just by going to the Total War forums, you might have seen an apology, clarifications on a moderation from C.A. Freeman, one of the developers from Creative Assembly. And I'll just read for you. Okay, let me start over. Hey, folks. By the way of quick introductions, I'm Adam Freeman, Creative Assembly Head of Community. Today, you've seen us post a reminder and clarifications on the moderation standards applied across our forum here on Steam. Since that post went live, you've helped to highlight parts of the message that was presented, which, on deeper reflection by ourselves, doesn't properly speak to our intent or fairly treat you as active members of the Total War community. As we emphasized in the original post, we are welcoming of all criticisms made against our games and continue to be an active partner to you, all ensuring that your voices are heard across our teams at Creative Assembly. Where we let you down today was in how we spoke to the topic of constructive criticism, choosing language and phrasing which completely missed the mark and led to too many of you to feel that your feedback, your thoughts, and your passion for the game to be an out-of-bounds subject. The original thread has been archived with a closing post made by myself linking folks back to here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and links to that. And I'll link that as well. There's a few more things about this that I want to speak on, but I will link to Valoon's channel where he discusses this topic in full, because I think you will receive far more detail if you need it at that channel. What I want to speak on is in CA's post here, it comes off as almost as though it is not an apology, but more of an explanation of why they felt they needed to put some unruly folks in check. So, in the apology is about the community's concerns, and I'll quote, led to too many of you to feel that your feedback, your thoughts, and your passion for the game to be an out of bounds subject. So that is the reason for the apology, right? The community's reasons right there that they're saying that they need to apologize for. So they then go on to say that they will update the communication in the future with an updated guidance. So this is their response. But I also want to bring to your attention that this then cleverly moves into a sidestep, if you will, and an introduction into almost a scapegoat. And I'll read on. Please note that we are still required, both by Steam and Creative Assembly, to moderate these forums to the advertised standards posted by Steam. So they link to Steam's guidelines for the for their groups and their forums, all that, anything that is on Steam, their guidelines. So they're almost referencing to Steam, say, hey, this ain't us. This is Steam, is almost what it's coming across as here to me. So during the process of this, I was thinking about, I had just seen a video from Simon Sinek almost talking about this very thing. And it's just so crazy that the timing would be, and is creating a culture of feedback.
A leader who recognizes and rewards feedback is going to encourage more feedback. So if I ask for feedback and say I'm open to it, and then somebody gives it to me and I either defend myself, criticize them, or reject it, then I'm creating an environment in which no one's going to give me feedback, or at least they won't give me honest feedback. They're just going to tell me how great I am.
So Simon, he's a brilliant dude. Again, I highly recommend that you check out his channel, as it almost, there's so many videos in here that pertain to the situation that is happening for Creative Assembly. Maybe they need to check out the channel. Certainly they do. I highly recommend them to. But I also recommend that you check it out, because it's great advice for you as well. Because you do still have to maintain the guidelines in a forum setting. You know, you got to remember, if you have criticisms, you're going to have somebody better listen to what you're saying if you do it in a constructive manner, a positive manner. You can say things without being, coming across like you're idiots or something. There's a way to say it to where it's going to get their attention. And I think that's what people need to understand, is going in these forums and getting banned for stupid reason. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting your ability to go into the forums and use that for help later. So I really strongly, highly want to encourage you to not go into the forums and put things that will get you banned for any reason. But that being said, I think Creative Assembly needs to really think about the fact that a lot of the people that do visit the forums and put their thoughts out on the forums are, let's be clear, all kinds of people. You don't have just adults communicating on there. You have children, because a lot of children do purchase these games, as I'm sure they're fully aware, because that is almost the excuse they use to take the chat out of the legacy games, where they strip the chat out of it. So certainly they should understand that some of the people in these forums that are putting messages that they're banning are children, and they haven't had the experiences in life to know how to properly communicate their frustrations about a game. They're doing how they know. It's all they know. So you should be a little more forgiving and understanding as a business to that, and have a little bit more foresight and understanding of who your clientele is and who is the members of your forums. But again, I stress that there's a flip side to every coin. that you have to also be responsible about what you're saying, even if you are younger and underage and going on the forums. You know, you still are responsible for reading the guidelines. They still don't want topics to get off the track so that the other people there don't have a bad experience. As you know, some people are on there just looking for help for the problems that they have, and if they have to weed through all this other junk, then it impedes them from finding the solutions to the problems they're having on the said game. But once again, I'm going to say that as a business, if you do put a forum, you should expect to get some communication that you're not going to necessarily want to listen to, or that you're going to find irritating, that they're making an off-topic discussion. There's ways you can communicate with those people. By God, their Steam name is there. Can you not chat with them personally? Can you not take that time to show people that you care enough to answer their questions in a personal message? Take the time. Show people that you do believe in them, that you do care about them. This is the whole problem that I think CA is having at large at the moment. They have lost trust from their customer base. And why have they lost trust from their customer base? That's the question. Why? More often than not, people are going to remember the experiences that they've had. As a customer, the experiences that you've had. So, what are those experiences? Could those experiences be price hikes that were reported for newer products, for growing expenses the company is facing, and later to find out that an expensive project has been canceled given the Batgirl film approach? And that's referencing a movie that was filmed and finished and never released. So the expenses are self-inflicted wounds passed off and almost implied to be inflation reasons in a time where people are already realizing that it is not inflation we face, but greedflation and excuseflation instead. Could those experiences be games purchased that have never been fully finished? Updates that are not fully explained? Removing chat features? Ignoring community requests to go back, fix problems with the game, or at least address why it cannot be done or will not be done? Releasing games that are out of touch with what the community wants. See, guys, the thing is that we as customers, we keep our receipts, and our receipts are very detailed. They are filled with experiences. So, I do encourage you to voice your thoughts and frustrations. I encourage you to voice them in a way that can be constructive. I encourage you to stop using the forums for this and rather email CA or Sega directly, as it is linked in his apology letter. Voice your concerns with passion and care. Ask for feedback to questions, your need for help. Reference CA's apology letter from CA Freeman. If you do not receive a response from CA, send me the info and we can address it here by trying to forward it on to someone else. They said they will welcome the feedback and all forms of criticism, but I encourage you, be positive, share your passion, share your concerns, do it in a constructive way. All right, thank you, everyone. I think this kind of covers what I need to cover for now. I want to thank you. I did consider, did this topic align with what my channel is and what it's about? And after that consideration, I decided to make this video because I care about all of you and I don't want to see any of you get put into situations where you get banned on a community forum by trying to voice your outrage. So anyways, I hope this helps someone out there. If it helps one person, then this video is worth it to me. And as always, I appreciate you for joining. This is David with Fairmere's Rangers, and I'm signing off.